This video is made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details. Being much more of a 2D Zelda fan, I have always had the original Link's Awakening near the top of my list of favorite Zelda games. Much requested and rumored, a remake of the game was announced for Switch during the February Nintendo Direct, and it immediately became one of my most anticipated games of the year. In my first hands-on time with it, I was able to play through the third dungeon, Key Cavern, and it filled me with equal parts nostalgia, whimsy, and excitement. The art style of the Link's Awakening remake is obviously a huge departure from the 8-bit look of the Game Boy original, and it was very interesting to see all of the old and some new enemies in their vibrant, claymation-ish glory. Perhaps owing to its original platform, the 2019 version of Link's Awakening appears to be very zoomed in, and so everything you see on screen seems perhaps larger than it should be, or larger than you remember it. The feeling I had was almost as if I were looking into a diorama version of Koholint Island's third dungeon. The lighting effects from the torches was one element that really caught my eye in the first room of the dungeon. I am eager to see more of the world and how it changed since my last visit there. There's a funny contrast between the quickness with which Link swings his sword and his relatively slower walking and jumping speeds. It feels different compared to A Link Between Worlds, the most recent 2D Zelda, and so it took me a little bit of time before I felt comfortable with the combat. Unlike in the original, the remake defaults your sword swing and raise shield to their own buttons. You can also equip two other items, like Rock's Feather or Bombs, to the X and Y buttons. I can't quite tell how connected the look and feel are, but by the end of the 20-minute demo, I was simply ready for more of it. More specifically on the dungeon itself, the Key Cavern, as you might expect, is all about collecting a higher than normal number of keys to unlock doors and key blocks that impede your progress. As you learn in the original Legend of Zelda, killing all of the enemies in a room can result in a treasure chest appearing, which may contain a key. So I had to take that lesson to heart in this dungeon. The main puzzle saw me placing bombs on the ground, and then approaching Parod enemies who teleport across the room when you get close. I would have to leave a bomb on the spot they would appear and then jump across a gap toward them so that they would land on the bomb before it exploded. Another puzzle involved seeing that one side of a wall was cracked and planting a bomb on the other side, even though there was no visual clue there. Bombs were heavily involved throughout the dungeon, and a few times I had to return to the entrance to replenish my supply. After picking up the dungeon item, the Pegasus boots, I was able to destroy certain barriers by running into them, and take out the Parods more easily, since I could now stab them before they teleported. The nightmare of the dungeon, Slime Eye, was hanging on the ceiling of the boss room, and so I had to use the Pegasus boots to slam into one of the walls so that it would fall off the ceiling and onto the floor. After striking it, Slime Eye begins to divide in two, with a tether of slime connecting the two parts. Once I had attacked them enough and stretched the tether as thin as possible, I rammed through it with a dash attack to separate Slime Eye into two smaller versions of itself. By stabbing each version in the eye a bunch of times, I was able to defeat them and collect the heart container and then retrieve the third instrument, the Sea Lily's Bell. I found the boss much easier than the minor enemies and the sub-boss of the dungeon, but I'm not sure if that was the case in the original Link's Awakening. The announcement of the Link's Awakening remake seemed a fitting event. It was the realization of a dream that I've been having since I first played Link's Awakening Deluxe on my Game Boy Color. With mere weeks before release, the demo I played at PAX has only heightened my anticipation for the game. First-time players will be able to experience a transformed and contemporary version of one of the Game Boy's best games. The veterans shipwrecked among us may find an adventure that is both exactly and nothing like they remember, almost wholly for the good. I am eager to lose myself on Coalant Island all over again when Link's Awakening releases on September 20th. This video is made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.